Hi there, folks. We're talking about writing summary paragraphs today. Very exciting stuff. My name is Darren Merritz. I teach composition in Texas at the university level. Hopefully we've got some good content for you. If you like this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe below. So what are we talking about when we're talking about a summary paragraph? So generally we're talking about putting together a paragraph that you can use to demonstrate a set of shared facts and assumptions that you can agree on with your reader. So you want to detail what exactly is happening that you're going to be writing about. What's the backdrop? What's the framework? What's the foundation? So that's really what we use a summary paragraph. And you could use it in any number of classes and at any level. It could be a valuable tool for if you're in high school for a high school class, or if you're like my students, if you're in a first year writing class, it's going to be valuable there. If you're an upperclassman, maybe you're using it there, or even a grad student. There are lots of applications for this summary paragraph, and it's a good way to make sure you're detailed and comprehensive in your essays. So generally, you might use a summary paragraph, say for example, in your lit classes. If you're writing about a novel or a book of some kind, you may want a summary paragraph to detail sort of like, well, here's basically what happened. Here's the plot of the story. Same would go with any sort of experiment, maybe in social science or political science. If you want to detail how that experiment went, what's the methodology for it, for a political science class, for example, you would use your summary paragraph to do that. The same with if you're writing about some sort of historical event, you can do sort of a play-by-play of what happened in this historical event that's going to be important for your readers to know and understand. So generally, my recommendation for students is that they put the summary paragraph, they make summary paragraph number 2, the second paragraph in the essay. Usually I'm pretty prescriptive about how I want my students to organize their essays. I think that's valuable for students because I think it helps students sort of figure out how to organize your essay and what pieces go where, so you don't have to worry about staring at a blank page for a long time wondering, what am I supposed to put here? Or I'm just going to write it all down and figure it out later. If you know paragraph 2 is your summary paragraph, you know what to do and how to actually construct it. And so in general, we can work with a few component parts of this summary paragraph. You can work with a first sentence that details sort of where is this information coming from, and broadly, what does it say? From there, we can work with chronological transitions and work piece by piece to capture the highlights and key component parts of the item that you're trying to summarize for your essay. So let's take a closer look. Okay, folks, let's take a quick look at the play-by-play. So usually, my recommendation to students is to begin with something we call a SAC statement. So this is just a way to begin the summary paragraph with important, pertinent information. So usually that looks like this. It's one sentence that captures what the article or experiment or historical event, what happened, what's the play-by-play, what are the circumstances that you need to include in this particular paragraph. So we would compare it to a topic sentence that you might see in your body paragraph, but because this is a summary, it doesn't yet contain any commentary or any sort of hypothesis or anything like that. You're just sort of describing the facts. So here's how it looks. State it, identify the article or work you're summarizing by title. Assign what's the name of the author. This could also be the name of the source, the publication, or something like that. But generally you want the author, and you should know the author for most all of your sourcing. So the author, and then action, use a verb from there, and then the last component part of this sentence, complete the sentence. You use a phrase to capture what it is that happened in the text or in the experiment or something like that. So how does that look? So let's take a couple of quick look at some examples here. In To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee captures the ethical challenges Southerners faced during the Jim Crow era, as seen through the eyes of a young semi-autobiographical tomboy, Scout Finch. So in this case, you can see the component parts. You begin with the name of the work, in this case, To Kill a Mockingbird. Then you have the author, Harper Lee. Then a verb, captures. And then the rest of the sentence is a description of what the book captured. And you do this, it's an umbrella statement. You're capturing broadly what happened in the text in this case. Another example, In A Modest Proposal, Jonathan Swift satirizes the cruel, heartless attitudes of the British by suggesting they adopt a national policy to cook and eat poor and impoverished Irish Catholic children. So again, you can see the same construction, the same patterns in this example. So it begins with the name of the work, in this case, A Modest Proposal. Then you have the author's name, Jonathan Swift, then a verb, in this case satirizes, and then a description of what this particular text captured. One last example. In Group Minds, Doris Lessing examines the role social groups play in Western society as a force that encourages obedience but suppresses dissent among individuals who feel pressure to conform. Yet again, we begin with the name of the essay, in this case Group Minds, then the author's name, Doris Lessing, and then a verb, examines, and then a description of what this particular essay accomplishes. So how do you organize this paragraph? So from here, once you've got your SAC statement, where do you go from there? My recommendation, if you're working from an article or a text or some sort of complete singular work, then look and see where that article, look and see how they've organized, where are their subsections, where are their breaking points. So you might be able to find 4, 5, 6 different subsections. Sometimes they're labeled, sometimes they're not, but find those breaking points and compartmentalize and categorize section 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and count on writing about a sentence or two for each of those sections. So work with the same organization that your source uses. So starting with the beginning of your source, capture what the first part of the source says in a sentence or two for your summary paragraph. So look for topic sentences in the paragraphs that you're working with in your article or your text, and work from there. So using your own words, put those topic sentences into your own language. Depending on how many subsections you have, you want to aim for probably about 2 or 3 sentences for each subsection of the article, and then work from beginning to end. Chronology is your best friend for these summary paragraphs. Lastly, check for appropriate chronological transitions. Helpful language. So you can use, if you're like me and you sit down to do some writing, for me, like, words escape me a lot of times. So what I would do is look here. You can see here transitional words and phrases that might be valuable. Use them, orient your reader with them. First, second, next, last, after that. This chronology helps give your writing cohesiveness and a good sense of flow. And then also attribution. This paragraph, like any other, it's very important to attribute. Who's the source? And you continually, just about each sentence, you want to be reminding your readers where this material came from, who's the original author, who's the one who's coming up with these ideas, because you don't want your readers to confuse these ideas with your ideas, because those could be two very different things. So how does this look on the page? So if we're looking here at a summary paragraph, here's an example. What are the component parts that we just talked about? We begin here with a SAC statement that has 4 elements: title, author of source, verb, and a brief description of the work. So there we have it at the very beginning of the summary paragraph. If you look here, you can see chronology for the paragraph, chronological transition words and phrases that help the reader understand, we're sequentially going through something, we're sequentially going through some material. So you can see that here. And then you can also see attributive tags. You constantly want to be reminding readers that these are the ideas or the work that's coming from somewhere else. So here you can see we're reminded that Milgram is the author of this material, and in true MLA fashion, we've included appropriate page numbers and parenthetical citations. So lastly, if you're working with an experiment, there's some details that are important to include. You want to include what researchers anticipated that they would find. You want to include what they actually found. You want to include the number of people who are involved in the experiment, and then you want to include any sort of broad conclusions ultimately that the experimenters found. Your summary paragraph is a great place to remember the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. Time, date, place. These are just really good details to help you get what you need to get into your summary paragraph. Okay, you guys, thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful. I hope that's a quick and easy way to add some oomph to your essays. If, again, you like this material, if it's valuable for you, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.